It's December. This means every single photography channel will do one of these listicle videos where we share gear that we liked throughout the year. And I'm doing one as well. But before I start my list, can we stop recommending the clamps? They're cheap. We all use them, but they don't make for great Christmas gifts. So instead, I want to focus on DIY and hacks and a few items that I found to be really useful throughout this year, where I was making content for this YouTube channel and taking selfies in the studio with lots of colorful lights or on top of the mountains, going against the weather and the cold, but having a lot of fun. And if you're a photographer, you probably seen one of these before. Item number one, and most probably the cheapest one. It's an L bracket. This one is designed to go on my D750 and honestly was so bad that I had to Dremel it a bit to make it fit on my D750. But I realized that this one can do a lot more than just be a way to mount your camera sideways on a tripod. Even though that's pretty nice and it's a lot cheaper than one of those swinging arms that you see from brands like Yulan. This one can pair really nicely with small-ish camera on small tripods, and I'm gonna mention one of these tripods in just a few seconds. But for a bigger camera, you can use this L bracket as a handle. It's really sturdy, being made completely out of metal, and it's basically a dual-purpose item. Now you have a handle on your camera, and at the same time you can mount it vertically on a tripod without having the entire weight of the camera fall off the center line of the tripod and make it be kind of wanky. The second thing on my list are UV filters. I buy them in bulk from AliExpress for around $2 or $3. That's why these ones don't even have a case. But I use them to DIY my own black mist filters, smoke filters, and generally have a lot of fun with them, even going as far as taking the glass out and replacing it with 3D printed parts. And I'm not even bothering to buy ones that have coatings on them. I get the cheapest one available and I have a lot of fun spraying them with black paint for black mist filtering, white paint if you want to get more of a hazy look. Combining those two, I've also played with hairspray, lacquer, and other substances. I've replaced the glass in some of them, and this gives me swirly bokeh in some of my lenses. They're basically a very cheap way to make your own special effect filter, and I'm even planning to make a video using this kind of fake crystals glued on top of one to see if I can get interesting looking flares in camera. So maybe subscribe if you want to see that. The third thing that I've used quite extensively this year is my 3D printer, or maybe 3D printed accessories. I know a 3D printer might not be the cheapest thing to get for Christmas, and it might be a hobby that's not quite right for everyone. But nowadays, some of them are pretty cheap, around $200, and the same ones are pretty plug and play. So even if you're not very technically inclined, you might be able to put one of them to good use. Notable examples here are things like this 3D printed coin wrench. It's basically some plastic giving you more leverage with a coin to screw and unscrew your tripod plate. I think I've printed like 20 of these and I have one in every pocket, every bag. I have one to my keychain. They're absolutely amazing for securing the tripod plate to the camera. Of course, the 3D printed custom irises that you can put in front of your lenses to get anamorph fake looking bokeh that I've designed. And I also have a video on that topic, but it's my first long format video and it's really cringe to watch. Stuff like this right angle GoPro bracket that's keeping the GoPro out of my beard when I'm wearing it around my neck. Also 3D printed stuff like this sun hood that's rather hard to come by for my vintage lens. It only cost me like $2 of filament and like 20 minutes of printing time. And definitely my favorite is this custom screen cover that I printed for my D750. This one allows me to see in 65 by 24 aspect ratio, which is a more cinematic aspect ratio that I really like, and Nikon does not give us the option to select that in a menu and have a good preview on the camera. And of course, these are just a few examples. The idea is that a 3D printer is a really nice thing for a photographer to have, and might even save you a few bucks in the long run by allowing you to create equipment instead of buying it. Maybe. That's not a guarantee considering how expensive they are. Number 4 on my list. Wi-Fi repeaters or custom routers. This is again one of these DIY photography hacks that I really should have made a video about. If you're anything like me and take a ton of self-portraits using one of these, to enhance the Wi-Fi signal on your camera, it's absolutely amazing. It might actually be worth its weight in gold, even though it weighs just a few grams. The idea is that you plug this thing into a USB power bank, it connects to the Wi-Fi of your camera, and you connect your phone to the Wi-Fi that it sends out. The range is greatly extended, and in some cases, it will even prevent your camera from disconnecting from your phone every time you close your screen. I'm looking at you, Sony users. For my Sony Pocket camera, it was an absolute godsend. The fact that I can now walk up a hill and take a selfie completely remoting my camera from there, it's something that I always thought wouldn't be possible. But now I can do it. So, strong recommend for this one. I'm not sure how well it works with Canon cameras because I don't have one of those. And for my Nikon boys, I have something even better. This is a portable router that can be modified to run custom software, and instead of relying on the camera's Wi-Fi, you can use the USB port on the camera to get a much higher data rate into this router and use the Wi-Fi that it provides to remotely control it with a software called QDSLR dashboard. And as a bonus, you'd even save some battery on the camera because now the router will emit the Wi-Fi instead of the camera. Product number 5 on my list, it's a bit of an odd one. This summer, Yulan started advertising a 5-in-1 small tripod for creators that like to hike. Well, I'm a creator, I like to hike, so I entered the giveaway. Honestly, I would have never bought this product because it seemed so gimmicky with the 5-in-1 marketing that they put out. But I won the giveaway, so I got the thing for free. And considering it's roughly $200, it's a bit of a tough recommend. But because I own it, I find myself reaching for it 9 out of 10 times when I'm just going for a light hike. Instead of carrying a big tripod and a pair of hiking sticks, I can just grab this thing and my Sony Pocket camera and I'm good to go. The hiking sticks connect to the tripod and even the ball head connects to the tripod using this connector right here. You can actually use it as a small tripod, a selfie stick, a monopod, or a tripod. I have to admit that it's cooler than I expected, and it pairs really nicely with the L bracket. This way you have the camera in line with the center column in the monopod configuration, and my camera is less likely to take a tumble. And speaking of things I was not expecting to enjoy this much, this is my new camera bag. I bought this thing wondering if I could fit my DSLR inside, since it's basically advertised for mirrorless. I can probably fit two of them. It has 3 pockets. In the main one, I usually have my camera alongside with 2 of my vintage lenses. They're not very big, but I don't like to carry more than 2 lenses with me anyway. And it has a space for me to safely store around this many filters. And no sane person actually needs this many filters. In the front pocket, I usually have my spare batteries, my portable router, a microfiber cloth, and the 3D printed range. It also has one more pocket where I store my personal belongings, but this is not the impressive part. I really like these side loops where I can hook a pouch for my water bottle, and I can even store my coat if it gets warm while I'm out on the trail. And the best part about it, it has these straps on the bottom of the bag for you to store your tripod. And for me, the fact that I don't have a backpack across my entire back, it means I'm not overheating while going up the hill. So that's a big win for me. Editor over here. I reached out to Canfit and they gave me a 20% off code for you guys to use if you want to buy anything on their website. Use the code VLAD at checkout. I don't get anything in return, but you guys get 20% off. Enjoy the offer and enjoy the rest of the video. Item number 7. This one is super nerdy and I strongly advise you to give it a try. This year I learned how to make my own RGB lights and I actually succeeded in doing so. And I have to say that it's easier to make one of these than you would ever expect. All you need is some LEDs, a microcontroller, and a USB-C PD or another way to power them. And you're gonna get some really cheap RGB lights that you can use in the studio or on location for fun shots. Don't expect them to be super powerful, especially if you like to run them off USB power banks like me, but they can provide a pop of color in your images and they're really cheap to make. It usually costs me less than $20 to make one. And if you enjoy tinkering with stuff, it's a really fun project and you'll learn a lot along the way. So that's my list. 7 items that I, as a photographer and content creator, recommend you should get in the next year because, let's face it, it's way too late for you to actually get them for Christmas. But you know what you can get in time for Christmas? Lightroom presets from my web store. All I'm gonna say about them is that I changed the way I edit my photos because of color response curves. And you can learn more about that and my presets if you watch this video right here. And that's about it. See you in the next one.